Okay, the Pythagorean theorem is what it has been since you first learned it, maybe back in 7th grade. It hasn't changed. It's named after the Greek mathematician Pythagoras, who found out about it from the Chinese, who figured out about several thousand years before he did. It's named after him because he proved a bunch of stuff about it. He was the first one who brought it really to a lot of attention to it, so that's why he gets credit for it. I don't know if the Chinese are upset about it, and the guy from China who had on these stone tablets, Pythagorean triples, 3, 4, 5, 5, 12, 13, stuff like that, that's what they had on there. I don't know. He didn't sign it, so he doesn't get credit for it. All right. Leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. I much prefer that to the a squared plus b squared equals c squared because a lot of people don't pay attention to what a and b and c are. All right. The legs are the two sides creating the right angle. The hypotenuse is the side opposite the right angle. The two legs go together on one side squared first, then added. The hypotenuse goes on the other side squared. Sometimes you add and take the square root. Sometimes you subtract and take the square root. It depends on how this equation is created. But as with all figure problems, there is a property that allows you to create an equation. The equation is solved using good algebra. All right? This is the property. The Pythagorean theorem says if you know information about 2 of the 3 sides of a right triangle, it has to be a right angle, this is the relationship between the 3 sides. You create the proper equation, then again, either add or subtract depending on what you have. If you know both legs, you'll add and take the square root. If you know a hypotenuse in the leg, you have to move the leg over. That requires subtraction before the square root. Okay? So, if we take a look at example 1. Use Pythagorean theorem to find side A. Notice, my right angle is right here, making A a leg, 4 is a leg, 7 is the hypotenuse. The Pythagorean theorem states we take leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. So again, the property that we're applying is the Pythagorean theorem. We create a good algebraic equation from the theorem. Then we use good algebra to solve the equation. A squared is going to stay a squared, 4 squared is 16, 7 squared is 49. We move the 16 to the other side, so a squared is equal to 33. That makes a equal to the square root of 33. Officially, if you have an equation looking like that, you're officially supposed to get plus or minus in front of that. A represents the side of a triangle. Sides of triangles are positive, so we only take the positive square root because of the property of this side. If you have a squared equals number in general, just in an abstract problem, you must take the positive or negative square root in that case. Anybody off the top of their head without a calculator know the square root of 33 to 17 decimal places?
17.
Me neither. Okay, so leave it. All right? If you don't have a, I don't need you to get this down to a decimal answer to prove that you know how to do things better. It just means you can punch stuff in a calculator better. Okay, it's fine to leave it here. If the square root happens to simplify, I'd like you to simplify it. For example, if you got the square root of 20 as an answer, that equals 2 times the square root of 5. I'd like a simplified radical, but I don't want a decimal answer on these so much as I would like a square root answer. If we're going on to do other stuff with it, sometimes decimals are easy to work with, then we might want to go that route.
So we don't have to put the plus and minus anymore?
Okay, if you have an equation, just a general equation, let's say you solve x squared equals 4, then x equals plus or minus 2. All right? But if x represents the side of a triangle, only the positive answer counts. So don't put the plus or minus in that case. So in these problems, don't put the plus or minus. All right? Only take the positive square root, because what we're finding is the sides are represented by positive numbers. All right? But in general, again, if the problem just says solve this, x squared equals 4, then you got to put the plus or minus, because there's nothing restricting x from being positive or negative in that situation. All right?